Welcome to the Boulder County Firefighters Association BKR9000 radio training. This video contains 6 sections. Section 1 will cover the radio basics. Section 2 will cover power-on basics and accessories. Section 3 will go over channel information. Section 4 goes over cloning. Section 5 covers command zones. And Section 6 will have some helpful tips. Included with your radio should be one of these cards with a QR code. If you scan this on your smartphone, it will take you to BK's website where you will find some user manuals. Out of the box, you'll notice the radio does not have the battery. To put the battery on, simply slide it up until it clicks. To take the battery off, push it on the 2 side clips and pull. The antenna is pretty standard, simply just screws into the antenna port. There are microphones on either side of the radio. To take the accessory cover off, use a coin or a flathead screwdriver and unscrew the screw right here. Same goes for the speaker mic. To put the holster on, slide it over the screen of the radio until you hear a click. To take it off, push on this tab next to the volume/on and off switch and pull down. The charger can charge 2 batteries at the same time. The spot on the left is designed to fit the battery attached to the radio, and the spot on the right has a removable piece, although it is not recommended to remove it, and it allows you to charge the battery by itself. Slide the radio into the charger like this. The orange blinking light indicates that the charger is recognizing the battery. The solid red light means that the battery is being charged. The solid green light indicates that the battery is sufficiently charged. Put the battery by itself into the port like this. More information on what the lights mean can be found on the bottom of the charger. Use the volume switch to turn on the radio. When the radio turns on, it will make a followed by
Attack 4,
which is the channel announcement. Looking at the top of the radio, you'll notice some different symbols. The C with the Z and an arrow attached to it means that you have channel scan on. If it is accompanied with the P, that means you have priority channel scan on. P1 or P2 means that you either have a priority 1 or a priority 2 channel selected. The H and the L symbolize high or low transmit power. The arrow between 2 vertical lines means that you're on a simplex channel. The battery is the battery life. Beneath the volume switch is the collar switch, which has either a circle or a circle with a line through it. The circle with a line through it means that you are on control lock, which takes control out of all buttons except for the push to talk. When it is on the circle, you have control of all the buttons. The ABCD is your zone toggle switch, and that is found beneath the channel selector. The orange button on top of the radio is inactive. The large blinking text is the name of the channel that you are on. On the front display, the top line of text, Lion's Fire, is zone label. The middle line is channel label, SOFTAC4. The bottom line switches between the radio name and the zone and channel number. The front display can differ between conventional and trunked. On conventional, below the display, you have 4 soft keys. The one on the far left is the zone selector. The one to the right of that is the backlight settings. To the right of that is where you can set your priority channels. And on the far right is your menu, where you have 23 different menu items. The only difference on the trunk display is that it shows your signal strength, and the third button from the left is now Priority Scan List Edit. You will now notice as well that there are only 14 options on the menu. The side buttons do different things depending on if you are on conventional or on the trunked DTRS system. On conventional, the button above the push to talk turns channel scan on or off. The button below the push to talk turns priority scan on or off. The bottom button is channel add or delete for your command zones. On trunked, the top button is the priority scan. The button below the push to talk is site search. And the bottom button is channel add or delete for command zone. On the speaker mic, the toggle switch controls the volume, and the orange button is inactive. Before we get into the channels, a quick reminder, this symbol means you are on a simplex or talk around channel. If you don't see that symbol, that means you are on a repeated channel. To reiterate, your radios operate on two systems. VHF like you're used to, such as the Boulder County or BOCO zones for Plan 1 and 2, and the 7800 statewide digital trunk radio system or DTRS. Sometimes the VHF works better, other times the DTRS works better. It just depends on where you are. Both bands have pros and cons, and you will find out what works best for you over time. Just know you now have two paths to talk to dispatch and all the resources you might interface with. Scanning on the DTRS is different than what you are used to on your VHF channels, and sometimes it just won't work. Don't rely on scanning if you need to hear important traffic. Use multiple radios dedicated to your mission-critical channels if you absolutely must listen to what's going on. The DTRS is a shared statewide resource, and it can get busy. When you key up and get a, you can talk. And if you get a, you can't. This can happen for a couple reasons. You could be out of range, and the radio will say out of range, but it's mostly because either someone is already keyed up on that channel, or that the system is busy. Here's a quick look at the statewide 7800 digital trunk radio system map. Cloning can only be done on VHF. Let's say we want to go from this radio to this radio. First, let's put on the cloning cable. On the source radio, let's select the zone we want to clone. We're going to clone VHF mutual aid. Now go to the menu, select cloning, and we're ready to clone this zone. But before we clone, select the zone you want to override. There should be some spare clone zones. Now we must enter the target radio as destination clone. Now it's waiting for clone. Hit enter on clone active zone. Select VHF. Now it's cloning. Now you have successfully cloned from the source radio on the left to the target radio on the right. The BKR9000 can still compatibly clone with the Legacy series, mobiles and portables, the K&G series, mobiles and portables, and the BKR5000. A command zone is an on-the-fly zone built from any channels already programmed into a K&G or BKR radio if there is at least one command zone available. In this case, we have two, right here. A command zone is a blank zone that you can add or delete channels from as your needs change. Let's build a command zone. Step 1. Go to the channel you want to add to the command zone, such as Zone 4 Channel 1. Now that you have the channel selected, Step 2. Press the bottom button on the side of the radio, 2 below the PTT. Step 3. Hit enter on the command zone you would like to see the channel in. Step 4. The screen will display the lowest available channel number in the command zone. Click enter to add the channel. You have just added the channel to your command zone. Now, if we select the command zone, we will see the channel we just added to it in channel position 1. We hope you have found this video helpful. Please remember that while scanning on the DTRS network, scanning of other channels is not the best practice. It does not support mission-critical communications. Users may miss communications on their primary channels as well as on the channels that are being scanned. Dual-mode scanning is considered a high-risk practice. If you are listening to a scanned channel on one network, you can absolutely miss mission-critical traffic on the other network. When it's busy, use separate radios for each channel you need to monitor. It's important to keep in mind that while on the statewide DTRS, don't drag your primary dispatch channel outside of the Denver metro area. When leaving the county, please change your radio to BC Travel, or if you need statewide access to CSP, you can turn your radio to MAC 21. Otherwise, just turn your radio off. Don't tune your radio to a channel being used for an incident in which you are not an assigned resource. Doing so may put undue stress on the incident talk group, and your radio may be inhibited by a system network manager. If you are caught violating these rules, your radio can be turned off by the DTRS network manager in order to preserve system access for others during a major incident response. You then might have to explain to your supervisor why your radio got shut off. Thanks for watching.